You have to sign a form in the back and give it to Petrona so she can give it to me so I can recognize you when we speak to the agenda item. That also includes the appeal cases, and I want to remind everybody that only the homeowner can speak to the appeals. Nobody else can do that, only the homeowner. I think that's it.
What's he talking about? How do you get to talk?
You can't, you're a renter.
It's okay, I still got something to say.
You're not allowed to rent. Only property owners are allowed to speak at board meetings. This is for property owners. Meetings are for property owners.
Why was I told to come to a meeting?
Who told you to come to a meeting?
You did.
Good evening, Rosemary.
You're,
To the board meeting.
did you write a letter to me? Are you on the agenda?
All right, good evening.
No,
We're going
I don't
to
have none of this work.
start the meeting.
I,
If nobody has hats on, we're going to, thank you, sir. We're going to stand for a moment of silence for our fallen heroes, and then we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. First order of business is the approval of the minutes of the Board of Directors meeting of 10/17/18. All of our board members have had a chance to look over the minutes. And do we have any omissions or anything else?
Correction.
Corrections, thank you. There being none, we'll accept the minutes as written. Thank you. Now we'll go on to correspondence. Linda?
This letter is sent to Gail Metcalf, President, Brookridge Homeowners. Please accept this letter as my resignation from the ACC Committee, effective immediately. Sincerely, Alan Shapiro. Dated November the 2nd, 2018.
And we had already voted to accept his resignation. This is just the formal letter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, second letter, November 10th, 2018. Again, to Gail Metcalf, President, BCPO. Subject, AVRC. It seems when someone exceeds the speed limit, the case can cost the person a monetary amount and usually a 30-day suspension of privileges. If this is for the first-time offender, it seems excessive. It also puts a burden on others, especially those who monitor the gates. I have seen a line of cars waiting to be checked. How many are offenders and how many are businesses or visitors, I don't know. If we do get suspended and fined, it's a bit much. Couldn't we cut back on the suspension, especially if it's for first-time offenders, and give the guard shack a break too? Signed, Sonia Snyder.
Okay. There's been a lot of discussion. As a matter of fact, I had 4 people come into the office the other day. We had a really nice conversation. And given all of the chatter because of the speed, and people have a problem with the violations as they now stand. As of right now, those violations will still be the same. What I would like to do is to have an ad hoc committee, and this ad hoc committee is going to be made of, I'm going to ask for 2 volunteers of the board, and I have 2 people I'm going to ask to volunteer, 2 residents. What I'm going to have this ad hoc committee do is to, Captain Schubert would work with them. I'm going to have them look at the data, PICO counters. I don't know what the PICO stands for, but what it is those 2 rubber strips that you see every so often on the road. Those counters, those things, they count the car that goes by. It has the date, and it also states the speed that they're going. So when people say we have people going 80 miles an hour, we haven't had anybody going 80 miles an hour for 4 years. We've been doing the PICO, I think, for 5 years. I don't know before I came, but I know for 4 years it hasn't, but sometimes it looks it. So I would, so that we can be fair to everyone, because this is what the association wanted, was because of the speeding fines weren't big enough to stop people from speeding. I don't want to take it upon myself or from Mr. Schubert or from the board members that it is what it is and that speeding has slowed down. So I took a lot of consideration for this, and I'm glad that Sonia had sent me the letter, because this is how we react. We react to letters. We don't listen to gossip to do something positive for Brookridge. Now, so I would like 2 members of the board to, well, I wanted 2, I've got Ken and, would one of you like to, no, I think, because I'm going to ask Sonia Snyder if she would be part of the ad hoc committee. And I had a very nice gentleman, George Bissonette, who came in with a couple of other people, and he felt very strongly about the speeding violations. So I'm going to call Mr. Bissonette. I haven't been able to, but I did speak with someone who said that he would. One of his friends said, yes, George will do it. So I'm going to blame it on her. Not mentioning any names, Anita. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask those 4 people to set up a committee. Ken and Linda will set up the meetings, and they will be in touch. I have Sonia's number, and I just received Mr. Bissonette's number. And what we do is, because this is this workshop meetings are Tuesday mornings, the Board of Directors business meetings are Wednesdays. I think this is something that can be done within the month, and they should only have to have a couple of meetings, but I want everyone to see what the data says. And if the outcome is that we should think about doing something different than what we do now, we will certainly take that into consideration. So I would like them to. So Patrona, could you write that down, that Ken and Linda and Captain Schubert, Sonia Snyder, and George Bissonette is Bissonnette. Okay, and I will get in touch with him. And thank you, Sonia, for bringing this forward. Next one.
Okay, the next one. The next letter I have, there's no date on it. It was received November the 12th. It was addressed to Gail Metcalf, Board of Directors, Brookridge Community Property Owners. Dear Gail, recently when talking with a friend, I was expressing my feelings about Spectrum's new plan in which they turned all their broadcasting over to digital. I have 3 television sets, which all worked beautifully and with a very clear picture. Now it will cost me $14 more a month for my other 2 sets for the so-called improvement digital. I cannot afford this. I did outfit one in the living room for the use of my guests. My bedroom television is now not working. I mentioned this to my friend who lives in Timber Pines, and she said, oh, I got a deal and we'll pay only half price. I thought maybe she was misinformed. She is elderly and I wasn't sure she had the facts. I questioned her further and she said that a couple months ago she got a letter explaining that if they agreed to use Spectrum for their cable service, she would receive a discount. She was happy to sign this letter. She has not received her first bill yet, but understands that she will be billed $81 for the equipment, which has been billed previously at $167. That is a savings, a tremendous savings. She is very well-to-do, but was so excited about the savings. I asked her if Timber Pines arranged it, and she said that actually Spectrum approached Timber Pines. Can this be true? Has Brookridge been approached? I've called around and nobody's heard anything about this Spectrum discount. I feel the powers that be in Brookridge should approach Spectrum to inquire why we have not been treated equally with regard to this discount they offered to Timber Pines. Let's face it, the Timber Pines residents are not being helped as a charitable gesture by Spectrum, as the residents in that park, for the most part, are very well off. My friend is wealthy and owns 2 or 3 homes in Timber Pines and 1 or 2 homes in Brookridge. I was hoping this matter could be approached at the next board meeting to see if we can receive fair treatment by Spectrum. Why are we not eligible for this tremendous discount? Why have we not been approached by Spectrum? Thank you, Mary Darling.
Okay, when I got this letter, if it's just gone to the president, we do not have to read it publicly because it's just to the president. But I thought both of these letters were really important issues because my husband came home and said that he heard this too. So we have not been approached by Spectrum at this time. Ray, our general manager, he's on vacation this week. We do let him out once in a while. And when he comes back, he will have an email in his inbox asking him to contact Spectrum and see what they have to say. And if they give him different information, I think we can find somebody over at Timber Pines that Ray would be able to have a conversation with to see how this was done. So maybe it's going to be a good thing. And I think the reason why, because somebody told me that they don't want to have any dishes in Timber Pines anymore. They want everybody to get rid of their dishes. So that was part of the reason. I don't know that for sure because I haven't heard. But we are certainly going to look into it. It wouldn't be nice if we had a late Christmas present and got rid of that $167 and went down to less than $100 for service that we've always had. So, but I just wanted to let the board know that I'm going to do that. I'm going to send Ray an email and ask him to follow up on this. And then we will know next month. Thank you. Okay, now we have the general manager's report. Captain Schubert is the general manager tonight too.
Oh no, I'm just filling in. The office will be closed for Thanksgiving Thursday the 22nd and Friday the 23rd. The 2019 minimum wage for Florida will be $8.46 per hour, change from $8.25 per hour. About 12 employees will be affected. Postage for first-class metered mail will go up to 50 cents in 2019, up from 47 cents. Postage stamps will go to 55 cents from 50 cents. Republic has moved the schedule for automatic service. They will begin delivering the 65-gallon cans after January 2nd for a new start date of Monday, February 4th. The cans will have barcodes that are connected to the paid account.
Thank you. Interesting. I wonder if they'll still be speeding. Next is the monthly violation report. Captain Schubert.
Yes, there were 2 incidents to report. One was on Rialto, there was a burglary and a petty theft, and the other was on Mohican Avenue, a scheme to defraud or obtain property.
Do we also have a security crime report?
No, that was it.
Oh, that was it, okay. Then we have the treasurer's report. Rosemary.
Treasurer's report as of October 31st, 2018. Our operating balance is $227,412.34. Accounts receivable assessments, $59,643.95. ARVRC fines owed, $57,958.23. There are 47 liens on file and an ongoing total. This is not a monthly total. This is a year-to-date total, $89,325.37. Our annual income-based report, $122,027.17, and other income, $7,907.55, for a total of $129,934.72. Operating expenses for the month, total expenses $98,129.71, $37,605.89 for administration, $18,902.11 for facilities, $16,510.81 public works, and for restrictions to security, $25,110.90. Our budget year-to-date, $1,268,525 at 81%. We've spent 81% of our budget as of the end of October. In the reserve accounts, the balance right now is $1,599,307.32. There were no reserve expenses for the month of October. The social club bank account, $62,212.89. Under donated funds, $108.72 was paid out for sales tax and refreshments, $372.75 for beautification, $143.10 for the entry sign, and $62.10 for Memorial Day, Veterans Day expenses, for a total of $686.67.
I just want to comment on the account 1112-00. These numbers are a little deceiving, but it's a bookkeeping thing, and I can't explain it because I don't want to be a bookkeeper and I don't want to learn how to be a bookkeeper. But when Ray comes back, I'm sure he's going to be able to give us a very short summary. I just want to say that the liens on file, liens go back and forth. Many of these liens are maybe about a dozen, maybe 24 homes that are either in probate, or we have situations, anybody who lives around Edmund Street or Scepter Avenue or any of those, some of those houses owe over $15,000. They've flagrantly disregarded us. They don't follow the rules. And our attorney and the Sheriff's Department is working very diligently to that. So that's not all money that we are going to make, and we probably won't make it all this year. So there are adjustments. But next month, I'm going to ask Ray to just give us an explanation of that so everybody is clear on that part of it. Just one of those things when people start asking, and I says, well, some people don't know, other people don't know. So I want to be able to, us have a good handle on, all of us residents have a good handle on exactly what is in that operating expenses and balances. Okay. We have no unfinished business, and next we have budget results. I was given the budget I don't know what's in here.
Budget vote, the membership has voted against the budget. We had 47 for the budget, 47 online, 23 against, for a total of 73. Ballots, 157 for the budget, 191 against, for 348. There were 50 voided ballots. So for the budget, 204, against the budget, 214, for a total of 418 total votes. For a total, 74, no, excuse me, 47 for the budget, online, 23 against, 157 voted in-house for the budget, 191 against.
So the vote comes to 204 people voted for the budget,
Yes.
and 214 voted
against.
against the budget. Now, before those that do not want it, there are consequences, and we've got to check with the state to see if we're going to have to take $38,000 out of the operating budget, which is flat again this year. We will do it because we do it all the time, but there are going to be consequences of everybody in this community, because $38,000, that's a lot of paper clips and paper. And our employees are bare-boned as it is. We have not replaced people in the last 2 years up here. You have seen that we don't have somebody full-time out at the pool. We've just got to figure out what the state is going to make us do this year. And what that also does is now, next year and the next years to come, there is going to have to be more money put into the reserves, and we are going to be losing, and we are going to be brought in by the state to get those reserves done. So by not voting that dollar, that is about $27,000 that we lose this year. I'm sorry, $38,000 that we lose this year. Next year that adds up to $76,000 plus whatever it is that we have to pay next year. So before anybody gloats, I'm just telling you, there are consequences to everybody's actions. So, but thank you everybody who voted. I'm glad to see, last year we had 493 people that voted, and this year we had only 418 people that voted. So, thank you.
Gail, I'd just like to give a shout out to the Finance Committee for all the work they did. That was Don Barrett, Millie Bernier, Joyce Barella, Terry Walters, and Peggy Christie. I appreciate all the work they did trying to get this budget going. And I want to thank the unit reps and Ken for handling the budget vote yesterday.
Yes, they did a good job. Another thing I want to remind you of, where the state has gone up for the minimum wage, the 12 employees that are going to be affected is going to cost Brookridge, all of you, $5,200. So that is now, instead of $38,000, it's going to be $43,000. So I want you to think long and hard on that. But it is what you wanted, so we will go with it this year. I just hope that Brookridge comes through next year, because we have a lot of amenities. We're paying very little for what we get. You can't go to any other community and get what we get. So I'm disappointed, but we will figure it out. We'll go on to the ACC committee appointment. Ray Wells. Oh, Ray, are you going to be able to speak? Okay. Ray has got a really bad sore throat. Ken will do the reading.
The topic for this is ACC committee appointment. The announcers reviewed the resume for ACC committee volunteer Dennis Bedoin. Sorry if I killed that. My recommendation to approve Dennis Bedoin to the ACC committee. I propose I make a motion to appoint Dennis Bedoin to the ACC committee.
Okay, I have a motion by Ken, a second by Linda. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a unanimous vote. We'll have to do that. We're going to do it at one at a time. Mr. Frank Matthews, we had voted him in a couple of months ago, but he's been away, and he came back early. We didn't expect him until January. So since he has been voted in, I'm also going to ask Frank to come up, and I'll swear the two of you in at once. Is Dennis here? Oh, there you are. Okay.
I heard a question, someone asked, what is the ACC committee? Could you explain that?
Okay, thank you. The ACC committee is the Architectural Control Committee. And that's really an important committee to be on, because one of the functions of the Homeowners Association is we go by the bylaws and the rules and regulations and our deed restrictions. And because it is a homeowners association, yes, we own our land, which was very unusual for this community, but you can't do anything you want on that. There are guidelines. There are certain standards that we live by. We don't want your grass to grow high. We don't want you to put up a shed or do anything to the outside of your home that's permanent. You have to get an application from the architectural committee first. Okay? Okay. And Dennis, is it Beaudoin or Beaudoin? Oh. Okay. So Dennis Beaudoin and Frank Matthews, could you raise your right hands? Do you solemnly promise and swear that you will administer the office to which you have been appointed to the best of your ability and judgment, in conformity with the governing documents of Brookridge Community Property Owners, Inc.? That you will, in all your acts, be governed by the principles of honesty, justice, and fair play, and in every manner possible endeavor to promote and safeguard the best interests of the citizens of Brookridge and the welfare of their membership. Do you so swear?
I do.
You lower your hand. By the virtue of the authority conferred upon me, I do hereby proclaim you both as duly appointed ACC committee members and officially installed into the office. now we come to the appeal cases, and I'm going to give that to Ken.
Let the record reflect the following paragraphs will be inserted into the appropriate AVRC case decisions when noted in herein as after reference as in paragraph A or paragraph B. Paragraph A. The fine and or suspension of privilege imposed will continue until compliance is met. It is the violator's responsibility to notify the code enforcement officer if compliance is met. Upon verification of compliance, any fines or suspension of privileges after the initial suspension is served will cease upon payment of outstanding fines and or administrative fees. Paragraph B. All action, punitive or otherwise, decided by the BCPO Board of Directors will go into effect immediately upon all reoccurrences of this violation 12 months into the future. If a reoccurrence happens, fines and suspension of privileges will be imposed immediately until compliance is met in accordance with BCPO Rules and Regulations, Article 12, Section 3, and Section 6. These are all appeal cases. Case number 7191, 7356 Mina Avenue. The violation was weeds growing in the gutter. I propose a fine of $25 per day, suspension of 14 days. Paragraph A and B apply. However, this case was, these weeds were fixed after the due date. So I amend my motion to apply a $25, waive the $25, the 14-day suspension of privileges waived, and apply a $25 administrative fee.
Ray, wait, hold on. Ray, what was it you? Yeah. Ray Welch seconded. Okay. Ken.
Now we have the violator. You want to present your case? It's already done.
Okay.
It's taken care of.
You're right.
It's been taken care of. Okay. And we haven't voted yet. We're in discussion.
I did call a few times and I get my notes in here and that was on the 5th.
Okay. This is the way it is. You received one letter, a notice, maybe about a month ago, saying that you had weeds. There is, in that letter, it says you had somewhere between 3, 14, and 28 days, depending on what it was, to fix that, okay? 14 days. It was, and I'm doing this for the benefit of our audience, because some people think that we just do things willy-nilly and we just slap people with fines. That is not correct. In this case, the lady got a notice that's saying that she is not in compliance and that she has 14 days to fix it. It was not fixed in 14 days, so we sent out the hearing notice, the violation notice, okay? And you can appeal, and you were able to, you appealed.
I'm appealing now because I got this.
We can't hear her.
You know, you didn't, I'm sorry, you didn't, I had asked that everybody, if they're going to speak at a meeting, oh, you've got it right there? Okay, you need to let me know these things. Okay.
I was going to handle it, but you jumped in.
Okay. If you would let, we closed it with the administration fee, but I want to, if there's something else that you want to discuss, we'll certainly do that.
Can you hear me without turning?
No, you have to use the mic. Can you make sure that it's on? I did it. Okay, now, okay. If you could state your name and your,
Margaret Timmerman.
I'm sorry, Mildred.
That's as much as that's gonna
Okay.
go. I don't.
Are you her daughter or something? Okay. Would you like to speak for your mom? She seems to be having a little bit of trouble. We will allow this because she's having a little trouble speaking.
For Margaret Timmerman.
Okay.
She did receive the notice, but just the one notice for 14 days, and it was resolved right away, like within 5 days.
It was received on the 29th and I just did
It was received on the 29th and it was fixed the 5th. And
It was received on the 29th.
and fixed on the 5th. And it was just the one notice.
Did she, the letter that she received, did it say that you had, not the suspension letter, but I know she received another letter that said you have so many days to complete. If she does not have it, I'm sorry, but she did get a letter stating that her weeds, she was not in compliance. It goes out with every, I don't want to hear anybody saying you must have lost it because that's not going to happen. She received a letter previous to this hearing schedule. She received a letter before. She did not respond to the first letter. When you don't respond to the first letter and you have not fixed the problem, then it goes to the hearing scheduled. We on November 9th, yep, she received the letter saying that that the hearing was scheduled on the 5th. Okay, she had to have gotten the first one because she sent in the request for the hearing on the 5th. So she got a letter before that, okay? If she still had 14 days to fix it, if she did not fix that, if she did not come into compliance within 14 days, but she sent the appeal hearing, now it has to go through, we have to do more paperwork and it has to go through the computer and everything. Our code enforcement has to do more, our bookkeeper and the secretary there has to do more. That it came into compliance after the date that this was sent, we are going to close it, but because you didn't do it before that date, before the 14 days, we have to do an administration fee. But the case is closed, that we're not going to, we're going to vote to not suspend the privileges or the $25 fine, but there is a fee, and that's an administration fee.
Look at that, but it says complaint open the 29th, you have 14 days and we fixed it by the 5th. Oh. I understand what you're saying. This says complaint opened 10/29/18. You have 14 days and it was fixed by the 5th.
It was fixed by?
November 5th.
It was fixed by November 5th?
Yes.
Captain Schubert?
It was complaint open 10/29.
Did you contact the office?
Yes. She called 3 times. I called once.
Okay, all right.
This picture's the weeds in the gutter on 11/21, correct?
No. This says days to resolve 11/12/2018. Complaint open 10/29/2018.
Yep.
It was fixed by November 5th. That's within 14 days. Yeah, 10/27. And then she received the notice 10/29.
Captain
Should I
Schubert,
bring it
can you
up?
enlighten us?
If she's saying that she fixed the problem on November 5th,
Isn't that within the timeline?
if that's what she's claiming, the problem lies is that she also appealed the complaint on the 5th. So the contact with the office was for the appeal.
So
It
she just
came
fixed it out of
here on, it got put on the agenda because they appealed it. Once they appeal it, we don't check it. So if they didn't tell us that they fixed it, we're not going to go out and chase a complaint that they're appealing.
On every notice of violation, it does state, after the violation must be resolved within 14 days, no later than. If you have any questions or need additional time to resolve this violation, please call
And we
code
did.
enforcement. And she did not call.
She called 3 times. She called
To tell them that we were.
that it was fixed.
That it was fixed?
Yes, she called 3 times and I called once.
Okay.
There's a regular number and then there's a cell number.
Let your daughter speak. I know you're breathy.
Monday, the 5th, she called 11:40 a.m.
Okay.
twice, and I can't read that.
Did you actually speak with
Oh,
her?
and then 5 p.m. We left messages, nobody answered or called back. And then I called the same day, it would have been 3:15-ish.
My last call was at 5 p.m.
And then her last call that night was at 5 p.m. the same day.
But the reason I sent,
They can't hear you.
The reason I sent the appeal in is because I wasn't getting a call back from code enforcement and I didn't want to be out of compliance.
Okay. What we can, all right, if there is an additional information, can we put this on hold until we have more information? Or,
Sure you can, but if she called the office during business hours, I find it hard to believe that nobody picked up the phone.
She spoke to somebody named Vivian who transferred, and I believe that's who transferred me too. I called the office and they transferred me to the cell, I think.
to code enforcement?
Yeah, to the numbers. Oh, yeah, code enforcement.
Yeah,
Brookridge
code enforcement. Okay.
It's possible. The problem winds up being is that we, like I said, we have the appeal signed and it gets put on the agenda. If she wanted to say that it was closed, I don't understand why she put in the appeal.
Because we didn't get an answer back, so then we weren't sure is the best move to appeal it and make sure somebody knows that it's done, or, I mean, we're just trying to take a step forward to make sure that...
Yeah, let's, all right, this picture that we have for the 21st, these are trees in the backyard. These aren't the trees on the...
No, that picture on the 21st was taken,
To show that there was none...
no, to show that it was done because of the meeting
that it was
tonight.
done. And we don't have
We
anything
have the
before then?
27th.
Okay, let me see.
And then she has pictures of it rectified on herself. And then she got the notice the 29th, and then we fixed it the 5th.
I believe that these are the...
Right, those are what needed to be fixed, and then the pictures on her cell show that they're cleared out.
Okay. I'd rather not rule on this until we have a clear picture as to... The other thing that we can do is just close it, but not having the administration fee, because if they called to say that it was done, and then they gave the appeal because you weren't sure, because you didn't get a hold of anybody, it's clearly done now. It's up
Because
to the
when
board
I
if you want to
called-
give them the benefit of
After
the
the
doubt.
third time I called back, they told me, our officers are out doing things, and they don't have enough time to whatever. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to
Okay,
bother anybody.
okay, all right. Yeah. So it's up to, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gail, you do have a motion and it's been seconded, so you do have to vote on his motion and then,
Or amended.
or amend his
Or
motion.
we can amend the vote. If you, it's up to you, if you want to ask the board if they want to go through with the, you could either do that, or you could amend your motion to close it, because they did come into compliance, we just weren't aware of it, and they're saying that they called 3 times. I mean, you've got 3.
We don't know when they came.
But if they could, they called
What date?
on the 5th, the day that they called. Yeah. And
On the
they appealed it because they didn't get a hold of, nobody called them back. So they figured they would appeal it, at least to get that going. Okay, then you would have to, the maker of the motion would have to,
I want to rescind my motion, seeing that this was fixed by prior to the fixed by date, which was 11/12. I'd like to amend my motion and close this case.
That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. Right, and Ray had to, okay, all right. That you have those times down, that gives us a pretty good indication that you did do that. We're not, there's no gimmies here, but you've given us a good reason that you tried. Okay. Okay. Yep, so we have a motion on the floor to... Yeah, yes,
I rescinded my motion.
And you made a motion.
And I made a motion to close the case.
right.
And
Okay.
Ray seconded.
The second did the motion.
Okay, we have an amended motion and a second to close the case on case number 7191. Do I have any discussion of my board members? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a unanimous vote.
Before we go on, I just want to make this very clear. When you people, if you have a violation, you get something in the mail, please read it. You got like 14 days to correct it. Once you become in compliance, as long as it's done by the fixed by date. Now what happens is, if it is not done by the fixed by date, as soon as the fixed by date goes, code enforcement puts it on the agenda. Then it comes before the board. That letter that you get in the mail, don't throw it in the trash, because it's very important. When you're done, you call the office, you came in compliance, and code enforcement will come out and check it. That is very important. And make sure you have documentation. I'm sorry there was a little mix-up there, but as long as it's fixed on, the fixed by date is very important, because then it comes on the agenda and it comes to us. So it's very important. So everybody out there in TV land, you got 2 weeks to fix it. And if there happens to be a problem, say like if you have your house is dirty and your wash guy cannot make it in time, he's going to be a little late. You contact code enforcement and ask for an extension. They'll be glad to work with you. It's not really rocket science here. It's just that this community looks good, and it's because of that reason, because you got rules and you got code enforcement to follow up on them. That's why your community looks that good. Next case. Case number 7197. This is also an appeal for 8470 Fleetway Avenue. Visitor driving a Jeep AZ tag BJC 7985, traveling 25 miles per hour in a 20 mile per hour zone on Country Club on 10/26. I received a letter from that owner, and that owner happens to be sick because they did put in an appeal. So I would like to put this case on the December 4th agenda. Case number 7190, another appeal case for 10/29/2018, 14566 Rialto Avenue. Vehicle parked on front lawn, repeat violation. The complaint date was 10/29/18, and the fixed by date was 11/1/18. I make a recommendation, a $25 per occurrence, suspension of 14 days of privileges. Paragraph B would apply.
Do I have a second? Linda seconded. Okay. Is Lynn Thayer here? Okay. Ms. Thayer, she had spoken with Captain Schubert and said that there was something going on and she wasn't going to be making it. I would like to, in my conversation with a group of people the other day, I realized that sometimes we come off as very cold, don't give people a chance. This is a prime example of this woman, who I'm sure has a good story, because many times they do and you don't realize how good that story is. And I'll just tell you that one of the people that everybody felt really bad for at the last meeting because he was a veteran. I wish I had known who that person was, because sometimes people don't always, their perception is a little different than what reality is. So, a very good example of this. Lynn Thayer, on Monday, June 4th, she parked on the street between 1 and 6. We gave her 3 days to fix it. She did not fix it. I believe that she did fix it, so we closed the case. No, I'm sorry, she did not fix it. She did not fix it in the 3 days. So on June 8th, we sent a notice of intent to fine and suspend community privileges because she didn't fix it. She kept it there. She did it more than once. On June 12th, Ms. Thayer was parking on the grass. June 12th. She continued to do it. So she got a fine as of July 3rd. On July 10th, she received another one. 9/11, she received a speeding ticket. October 2nd, I believe this is the one. No parking, another speeding ticket. And then we have the vehicle parked on the front lawn again. What happened to her in the June one, I believe we might have closed that one, and then 4 days later, she parked it in the back of her house. So I want people to understand that we are not fine happy. We are not out to get the elders or the young that I've been hearing an awful lot about lately, and it makes me quite angry that if you're going to tell the truth, go ahead and tell the truth. But most of the cases, when people have these sob stories, this is what it is. It is not their first time. And when people park in the grass, they are told, you got 3 days. If you're not gonna do it, what are we supposed to do? It's all you neighbors that follow the rules. And then some of your neighbors park behind their house. I mean, I had a realtor do that. And he's up $3,000 because he thought he could get away with it. We are who we are, and we all expect all of us to follow the rules because this is the community that we live in. So I apologize for not giving people information before, the background information, but certainly from this day forward, you are going to hear the background of every single violation that comes up here, especially when somebody has a story to tell. And in this case here, this was quite legitimate. They had the dates, and that's why we closed it. Do I have any other discussion on the parking on the front lawn repeat violation? Okay, I'm sorry, who, Linda, you had seconded it. Okay. If there's no other conversation, any discussion, I will ask for a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? It's a unanimous vote.
Another appeal case, 7222. The appeal date was 11/5/2018. Address 8207 Fortune Hunter Drive. Vehicle parked on Xeriscape, left side of driveway. I recommend the $25 per occurrence and 14-day suspension of privileges. Paragraph B would apply.
Why don't we second that for a discussion, and then you can go on.
Okay.
And explain. Okay. This guy over here seconded it. This guy.
Him.
I know that we have somebody in the audience. Is Lynn here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Before you come up, sir, I want Ken to give us some background. Okay?
Okay, the background on this is Mr. Davis is a new member of the community. He only moved in here a short time. He was told by the previous owner that he could park on Xeriscape. Now, I don't know, Mr. Davis, have you ever attended the orientation class?
No, but I do have it scheduled.
Okay, I'll say, so you're unaware of our rules, and the reason I'm going to amend my motion is because that you were unaware of, you were just told by the homeowner, and you have no idea what our Brookridge's rules and regulations are. You do know now, and I do see your car parked all the time on the driveway now, so that's a good thing. So that orientation is going to be very important for you. The reason I'm going to amend this motion is because that you were unaware of that. You just went by what the homeowner said. And you, when they cited you and they put it on the agenda, that, how I can put it, it's on the tip of my tongue. You complied, and you have been in compliance. So I'm going to rescind my motion, and I want to close this case.
A second by Ray to rescind the case. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a unanimous vote. When there are good reasons, we do that. And this is a perfect example of what we do.
One thing I don't want people to think that, one thing I'm a very good promoter of is treating everybody equally. Parking cases, there are some cases that are, when we used to have the VRC committee, when the committee used to meet with the members who appealed, the committee itself would make the decision right there and present it to the board. Now what they do is the Florida statute has changed. Now all appeals go directly to the board, and the VRC committee oversees our decision to make sure that we are doing everything correctly. So there is checks and balances. My committee was a little disappointed because they like to hear all the stories, but they can come to the meetings and hear the stories live or watch it on television. One of my committee members in the audience now, and he's just snickering back there, but they always told me, they says, well, now what do we do? I said, this is what we do, checks and balances. So we do treat everybody equally. We try to hear every side of the story and be fair. The main thing with our rules and regulations is to keep this community neat. We try to keep it safe and secure. And this board's fiduciary, this is why you voted us in here. And that's what we will do. So hopefully everybody out there in TV land is looking at this video, and just remember that if you do get a violation, it's not you have to fix it right away. You got 2 weeks. See, before the Florida statute was changed, before our deed restriction changed, we people used, and the administrative fee came into being is because people were getting over 30 days to fix the thing, and it still wouldn't fix it. And then the members would complain to the board, say, look at this guy. This guy's got torn screens and they're flopping around. This guy's got a dirty house. That dirty house has been there for 6 months. Things have changed now. You've got 14 days to fix it, which is plenty of time. And like I said, you call code enforcement and ask for an extension, they'll be glad to give it to you. And we're not here to we're not fine happy, we're not crazy, we don't take privileges away or anything, but it's the only way to keep this community safe and clean and neat in appearance, and be proud to be a Brookridge resident, because I know I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And one more thing. Did all of you, when you got your agendas, they come over on the internet, we now get a monthly report to board for violations. Okay? There were 87 here. These are the violations that we received this past month. Now, that said, there were 87 people that were not in compliance at the beginning of the month. When you look through this, and I believe that we're putting them in the news and views now, I want you to understand that there are a couple of things. One status will say closed, another status will say fine, and the other status is notice. If you will note how many are closed, those residents got their letters and they complied and called code enforcement to let them know that it was done, so code enforcement could come down and take a picture and put it in their file to prove that they had come into compliance. The people that are fined are the ones that we had to come here, we had to hear the appeals, and they were still fined because they did not come into compliance. And then the other one is the notice. That means that it did not come to the board yet, that they have the notice. And they can still come into compliance before it reaches us, and then it would be closed. So we're trying to make people, have people understand that we are not against the elderly, we are not against people, we're not against any certain people or anybody who represents anybody. This is what you choose to come into Brookridge for. So when you see it in the news and views, I want you to look at that and realize how many people do oblige by the letters that we send. These are the ones that look at them. The other ones, not so much. And I'm hoping that if you see any of your neighbors here, that you can remind them, you get any letters from Brookridge, you better open them. So that's the history of it, and I guess we've never been clear since we've been doing these appeals. So I thank the people that had asked me to do this, and they didn't know, and I think it's important that we all know how it works.
The one thing about this sheet is it tells you, a lot of people say code enforcement's not doing anything. This is proof that they are doing something. Houses are getting cleaned up, they're following our rules, and they're enforcing our rules. This is the third month in a row we've had a speeder on Country Club Drive in the blind person's area. And I cannot stress this important enough, that you have a blind person right at that hill, and people go flying down that hill. This person's not going to see you. So please, 3 months in a row, let's slow down in that area. Be aware of it, you people out there in TV land. Please slow down. We don't want this person to get killed.
Thank you, Ken. Now we come to the report of the directors. I will take committee reports and projects. Who would like to start? Ray can't talk this month. Lady, you want to start?
I can't talk either.
Ain't happening. She was fine a half hour ago.
Well, we're looking forward to Saturday for the Welcome Back Festival. If anybody isn't aware of it, we've got a golf cart over there that we're raffling off. There's a golf tournament going on. We've got games, we've got food, we've got a dunk tank, we've got music. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a 50-50 raffle. It's not only money, but we've got some really nice prizes that have been donated that people wanted to go to the front sign. So we decided that at the end of the 50-50, after we've drawn all the money, then we're going to have drawings for these really nice prizes that we've got. So the festival is from 10 to 4. We've got a big tent out there. It's going to be out there. They called me today and told me that the tent and the dunk tank will be delivered Friday morning between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. So we'll get the dunk tank filled up and get ice cubes put in it for Saturday.
They better heat up the water at 3:30.
But everybody come and we're really hoping for everybody to come and just have a lot of fun. It's just going to be a fun day.
Thank you. Ken?
Okay, if you look at your news and views calendars, for Monday, they have us down for a VRC meeting. That is put in error. The next VRC meeting is December 20th. So please don't go by what's in there. The ACC meeting, I think, is still going on, but not the VRC. Okay. November 10th was Veterans Day. We celebrated Veterans Day on November 10th. I know it was on the 11th. Sunday was a bad day for in here. Hopefully the people that came had a good time. I want to thank the social members who donated all the monies that supported that event. I've thanked Rick Stratton and Val Stratton time and time again, and if it wasn't for them, their donations, that made that a success. It was a very good ceremony. The people that did attend, I think, had a very good time, and the hot dogs were great. I want to thank Vince Pizzo and all the monitors that helped support us putting up the tables. I was here the night before because seeing that I scheduled it for Saturday, and Vince really clued me in that, all these tables from bingo got to come down. So guess what? I got volunteered to help them take all and trust me, those tables are not light, especially the new ones. They do not fold very easily. I didn't know I needed gloves. So luckily the monitors had gloves and I let them do that, but I did some of the lifting. So I appreciate Vince, thank you, and your people for everything you've done. And the men's club for doing the cooking, and everybody else that participated, and all the members that participated. So thank you very much. It was a good success. And my next event will probably be Memorial Day. So that'll, I know that's next year, but it's in here. All the things that I didn't do right. I know I didn't put the sign up in front. All the things I had going on, I just forgot to put the sign up front in the center median there. And that's my fault, and I apologize for that. So all I could do is just went by what I said at meetings and in the news and views, and the people that showed up, I think they had a good time. Thank you.
And Ken, we're teaching Ken how to lead things. And you did a good job. You and Rosemary did a great job that day. The speaker was awesome, and those junior ROTC kids, they just blew me away. They were so emotional, they were crying half the time. And to see the older veterans mingling with those kids, the respect and love I saw between the two generations was just unbelievable.
They have a fantastic drill team. And I've talked with their commander, and I'm gonna see if we can get them down here for Memorial Day. From what I hear, it's a fantastic show that they put on. These kids are really into it, and I'm proud that they're in the military, and I got to see the younger generation appreciate the flag and being a true American. Yes. Thank you.
And the ROTC too has stepped up, and they volunteered to come help with our parking the day of the festival too. So you'll see them out there. They're going to have on yellow short or navy blue shorts with yellow shirts, and it'll have navy across the back, and they will be helping with the parking. So I give the thanks to Greg for helping set that up for us. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you. Ron, do you have anything?
I'm the liaison for the Golf Association. They had their meeting this past Monday and continued to remind their members. They've got notices up all over the place, but continue to remind their members to stop at the stop signs and watch their speed limit on Hampton out here. There are cameras that are watching that. They're aware of it, and everybody else should also be aware of that. So, if you're out on Hampton out in front of here and there's stop signs or there's crosswalks and you're not stopping for somebody, be aware. Just a note for the general public at the same point. All golf carts are not allowed on the golf course. If you've got a golf cart and it's registered with BCPO with that 4-digit number in your front windshield, that is registration inside Brookridge. It is not authorization to go on the golf course. The golf course is private property owned by the golf course members, so please be aware of that. Because it is private property, there are some people that if you were cited on that, that they could legally contact the Sheriff's Department to come and have you taken away for trespassing. Just be aware of that. People aren't doing that, but can do it. Just want everybody to make sure. I noticed person the other day, and I couldn't catch him because his cart was faster than mine. His cart was faster than mine. I could speed it. She won't let me do it anyway. I couldn't catch him, but cut across one of the fairways, just cut across the golf course, and the area that he happened to cut across was a little bit wet from the sprinklers, and did do a little bit of track damage in the fairway. Thank goodness I looked at it today, and our grounds people were able to take care of that cleanup. But just be aware that 4-digit number doesn't get you across there. I'm also the liaison for the unit reps. We've got elections coming up for both board of directors and the unit reps. We are looking for 4 additional unit reps for the year 2019. We've got 4 people that have served for a good while and because of health reasons have said that they will not be able to serve going forward. So if you're looking for some way to get involved and meet some people in your unit or another unit, please stop by the office, fill out a resume, tell them you just want a resume for a unit rep. They'll be glad to get you one and fill it out, get it turned in. Those have to be in by December 17th. While I'm talking about applications and resumes, Board of Directors has 4 openings. If you're satisfied or not dissatisfied or dissatisfied or want to do something and run for the board, would encourage you at the same point, go in and put your resume in. Again, by December 17th, those have to be in. So put it together from there. I won't even go into the golf family and everything else. You covered that pretty good.
And Ron, you just might want to let the audience know who's over there.
Those are the unit reps. I'm gonna ask them to do this because they're really good at without in front of people. So take a minute and just start. Lucille, start on the end. Just stand up or wave and introduce yourself. Speak loudly because y'all don't have microphones.
I'm Lucille. I do have a throat problem. I'm Unit 4.
I'm Beverly Epstein, Unit 6.
Peggy Christie, Unit 1. Sam Ross, Unit 6.
Mary Smith, Unit 3.
Steve Bastieri, Unit 4. Fred Matthews, Unit 1.
And we've got a couple others that are off for Thanksgiving vacation. We gave them some time away too.
Rosemary?
Just so you know, too, the girls in the ROTC want to participate in with the Music Years next year. They want to sing with us, so that's a good thing. Speaking of the Music Years, this coming Sunday, the ladies of Brookridge is hosting our annual tree lighting ceremony at 2 o'clock. We'll have the tree lit. The Music Years are going to do, actually, you guys are going to do the singing. We're presenting a singing program. There'll be a dance troupe, and we're going to give you cookies after. So this is Sunday at 2 o'clock. Yes, the Christmas tree will be lit. It's a 9-footer. And we have a 9-foot person who's going to come in and put the top on. Anyway, it's going to be a nice ceremony, and that will be in conjunction with the lights going on outside. I understand Vince and his people have been working very hard to get all the lights around the community, and I'd also make a shout out to the beautification for all the lighting for the shrubberies and trees in the front part of the community. The other thing is, I think that was it. Oh, yes. We still have tickets. So Dan still has some tickets for New Year's Eve. They are $40 a person, and it includes, it's called An Evening in Paris, and it includes a 5-course dinner, complimentary dinner wine, champagne toast, music all evening. So if you're interested, tickets will be available until the 14th of December.
I just want to add too that Rich Stratton one of those nice prizes that I was saying we're gonna do with the 50-50 raffle is Rich Stratton and the Social Dance has donated 2 tickets for the New Year's Eve party that we will be giving away Saturday after the 50-50 drawing. Those are $40 a person value, so it's $80 for a couple. So thank you to Rich Stratton and the Social Dance. Thank you.
I know one other thing I was supposed to mention about the, now it's gone out of my head again. This is terrible. I hate getting old. Oh, yes, I know what. Monday, the ladies of Brookridge had a meeting. We had a potluck luncheon and we decorated ornaments for the tree. At that meeting, we voted we had some money to disperse, we had to disperse. So we took a vote on what we felt we should spend the money on. We did put money aside for different charities like the Dawn Center and the Humane Society, but $2,000 is being given to the front sign. We also have $600 going to beautification. Vince Pizzo's wish list is going to get money too. CERT is also going to get money. So with the charities and with the organizations within the community, we will be distributing $8,000.
Very good, thank you. Leo? No, I haven't talked.
I want to jump ahead of you. I never get a chance.
Would you like me to wait until you're done?
I'll give you the floor.
Mine is a very serious note. But before I get to the serious note, I just want to remind everybody that the Fall Festival, I know it's a Welcome Back Festival, but it really is a Fall Festival on Saturday. You do not have to spend a cent, people. And I'll tell you, we have some great musicians that are going to play all day long. They were a little hesitant. They didn't want to use each other's microphones and this and that and the other thing. Well, when they came together Sunday, I have 4 groups, and they are so excited about doing this. They're going to be playing, and one group is playing for over 2 hours, who told me he wouldn't play more than a half hour. But what I did tell them is all of these groups are in the news and views every month. Some of them play every week. Most of them play once a month. And they're like the Richards Variety Group, and they've got Jack's Jam Band, and I'm not going to try to remember all the other ones. Dream Team, and okay, and Wayne Larkin's group, I forgot what his group is. They're going to be doing something also. What we want to do and what we told them we're going to do is we had to set up times, so they had to commit times to us. And what we told them is that we're going to say what their name is underneath and the day and the time that they play here. It's all free, people, and we don't take advantage of these great musicians, and almost every single one of them were professionals. They have played with famous bands and people, Nashville, LA, everywhere. And I think it's a really nice thing to have us residents know what our neighbors do. So even if you don't want to spend a penny, although tickets for the balls is $3 for $5 for me, I think they're going to be changed to $10 for me. We haven't decided yet. So it's not just about making money. You can come up here, you can look at the artists that are going to be in the pavilion. They're going to be selling their wares. None of that is going to Brookridge. It is going to them. So I would encourage you to come up and just smile at your neighbors. That's really what this is mostly about. So, on a serious note, very serious note, one of the major obligations of the Board of Directors is to provide for the preservation of the funds of the Homeowners Association. Investing only in safe and conservative means is part of being a fiduciary. Florida state statute does not mention how HOA monies should be held, but our bylaws state that BCPO funds shall be deposited in banks, savings and loan associations, certificates or money market funds. These foundations are all FDIC protected. In other words, we do not have the right to risk even $1 of your money. One of our directors feels that the board is leaving Brookridge money on the table, so to speak. He strongly feels the rest of the board of directors, if we really care about Brookridge, should invest your money into investment opportunities, ones that would have no guarantee to be risk-free. We contacted our auditor, the CPA who works exclusively with homeowner association audits and taxes in the state of Florida. His professional opinion is that he would never invest a penny of any financial instruments due to the potential reduction in the initial investments, and any stocks, bonds, and the like that does not insure the principal is subject to loss. If we cannot control the investment at 100%, we would be irresponsible. We then contacted our lawyer for a legal opinion, which is as follows. The board does not have the right to place other people's money at risk for any loss. We are accountable to our members and liable for their money. That duty is more about the preservation of that money and does not mean to make as much money as possible. The board of directors is not the members' brokers, their financial planner, or their advisor. It has always been my policy to keep the integrity of this board and to follow the Florida Sunshine Laws. When any of us does something that could hurt this community, I have always discussed it publicly. That way, there are no backdoor politics, no decisions made in private that could affect this community. Director Leo Benoit feels strongly that we must invest your monies and wants to set up a financial committee to make investment decisions. I strongly believe this should be brought up publicly at a meeting, not under private discussion. Since April, I have asked Leo to bring his ideas as an agenda topic so we can discuss our finances in the open. Since he has refused, I must bring this information forward to you, the residents, whose money would be at risk with these ideas. Director Benoit has been unable to provide me with any other HOAs in Florida that would put their reserves in stocks or bonds. And there is a reason for that. It is unacceptable. This is not to attack anyone. All HOA boards must conduct business in the best interest of this association. Directors cannot legally do something for potential personal gain for himself or his business associates. It is not legal. The board has fought hard to gain the trust and respect of Brookridge these last 3 years, and I do not believe this community wants its board to go backwards. Our duty is to govern with the deed restrictions and bylaws that are set forth by vote of the membership and to follow state statute. It is unfortunate to have a situation where a director still feels these documents are guidelines and continue to quote the Florida condominium statutes instead of the Florida's homeowners statute. And I cannot believe the residents voted for this behavior. It is not easy, and it certainly isn't fun being president and having to do this. But the membership must be aware of these actions, as they will affect each and every one of you.
I want to answer.
I would like to continue. I am still upset with remarks that Mr. Benoit made at the candidate.
You don't have to be upset anymore. As of this moment, I retire from the board and withdraw my name for the next election. I can't take any more of this BS. Sorry. I'm done. I'm no longer on the board.
I am still upset that Mr. Benoit made the candidates forum regarding the Board of Directors' fiduciary duty with our funds. He publicly questioned whether funding for the reserve account, reporting to state agencies, or clubs' handling of money, if they are being handled correctly. As a resident, I feel if there's potential illegal activity that he is made aware of, he should have reported this immediately instead of using this as a platform. As of this date, Mr. Benoit has not corrected any of his mistakes, and he has not made any other allegations, but I'm sorry. I've been dealing with this for 8 months now. My board has been made aware of it since August, and when things will not come forward, the community has to know this, that this is what the idea has come forward and it has not come to the board. We've had conversations where he has accused me of lying on a tax form and that our auditor was lying. I will tell you now, we had it checked by another auditor. That is not true, and I take great offense to that. And there was nothing said that said, I'm sorry. There was nothing said that says that I was wrong, let's discuss it. There has been nothing. And I do not, and I know Mr. Benoit is very passionate about the people in here, but he won't follow the rules. And how we displayed tonight, when someone came forward and asked about speeding, that's how we conduct business. And that's how you conduct business as a board of directors. And I'm sorry, but I have asked him for 8 months, and he kept telling me that he won't bring it forward. And it's getting at a very dangerous point because he wants to institute a financial advisors. He was sending it to his personal advisor, and there can be not one board member, and this is state statute, that's, if they say, if you are doing personal gain, you are going against the state statute, and that is a very serious allegation. And I want you to know, all of you to know, I do not do this lightly. I did not do this pleasantly. I have no pleasure in this. And that's why I have waited so long. And then I had to deal with the auditor and the attorney for a legal opinion, because we are here to protect your money. And if any of you think that it's okay for us to put your money in a risk, even if we lost $1, the state would be coming down on us just like that. And I'm sorry, people, but it had to be said because I've been dealing with this for 8 months. Thank you.
I don't want to scare anybody from applying to the board. and I'm serious. We up here, we took an oath to protect you and your money, make this a safe, secure community. If we violate Florida Sunshine Laws, it's Florida Statute 720, we could go to jail. I don't want to scare anybody from applying, but and it's very simple. You just follow the rules and you'll have no problem. We work together good as a board. You have a very good board here, regardless of some may may not think so, but some may say you're a good board. So, you know, trust me. And I was going to say this before, but not now, but, you know, we are looking for applicants anyway. We like to have more than just a few. It's not a very difficult job. It's a rewarding job when you see people thank you for doing a good job. And because you are in our hearts, and we try to do the best we can with what we have. I'm sorry the budget didn't pass. I don't know what's going to happen there. Something's going to have to give. That I feel very, very sad about. And the ones that didn't vote for it, well, hopefully the rest of us aren't going to suffer because of it. On the other note of fall, I'm going to get off the sad note, and I want to go to the Fall Festival, the sign. I just realized this the other day. You know, the county took down the trees as you're coming from the going east, you're going west on 50, you're coming into Brookridge from the east, and the trees are down, so now you see that sign.
It looks nice.
I like it.
Well, I'm glad you like it, but drive around, and I just noticed this. I'd never noticed this before. But because of the sign, I'm driving around the area. I'm not just going nitpicking and this and that. All of a sudden, I happen to notice I'm driving with my wife, and you go right by the post office, there's an apartment complex. Their sign is so much better than what we have. And this is an apartment complex. This is a community of 2,700 homes. And that sign that's out there right now, I'm sorry, that's a trailer park. And this is not a trailer park. That's what it reminds me of. I'm sorry if some of you are going to feel that way, but you look at that new sign out there, you get that new sign up there, and the people that want it, thank you. The people that want that sign, trust me, and if it does happen, it will happen, and you all are going to benefit from it. And you're going to remember this when your heirs or you want to sell, you want to move out or whatever, and you're going to. And Ron Ross told me a story the other day, and I'd like him to tell you all that about the person that came in here to golf, and you thought this was a trailer park. Listen to this.
We had some people that came and looked at Brookridge. And in the course of looking at Brookridge, the reason they looked at Brookridge is because some friends told them about Brookridge. They came in because Whispering Oaks is closing their golf course, and they wanted to look at our golf course at the same point. They came in and wished they could play in the outing. Well, the outing is for residents and guests of the residents and members. And one of the golf club members, not myself, invited them to play in there, and they're going to play in it. And I got talking to them afterwards about Brookridge and what they thought of it, because I wanted to know what they thought of our community. They said they were really surprised that the people that referred them to come here had to really talk them into coming, because as far as they were concerned, from the sign, they'd never been in here. And they said, their words, they said, we thought it was a trailer park. They said we were completely flabbergasted and amazed when we came in and drove around the community to see the pride that's in Brookridge. They said this is one of the best kept secrets around. They've lived here in the area for numbers of years and had never been to Brookridge, never attempted to come to Brookridge, because that's what they thought it was. They're pleased, and they're going to end up buying it here. So that's it. There you go.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's okay. And before I have member comments, I would like to make another, I'd just like to talk about the sign, okay? Not all of us want the sign, and some of us do want the sign. One thing I keep hearing, and I don't know how to say it any other way, you're wasting our money, okay? Or we should use the money for something else. It was not the board that decided this. It was a group of residents that came forward and said, we would like to update the sign. I said, you're going to have to come up with the money. All of you who are against the sign, that's okay, because I know there's a nostalgia there, and I know that, you know, it's an icon and things like that, but some people don't feel that way. What I I don't mind people not, it's like the fall festival. Don't come just because you don't support the sign. Like I said, some people aren't going to spend a penny, and that's okay, because we want people to come up and enjoy the day and see the music that we have here and the different artisans that we have here, and how all of your employees want to be part of this because they love Brookridge so much. If you don't want to contribute to the sign, that's okay. The sign gets built, you're not going to have paid a penny for it. But other people that wanted it are going to pay for it. And the only thing that I feel really uncomfortable with is, and people come up to me and I don't mind just saying, I don't like the sign, I'm not going to pay. Okay, that's okay. What I do resent is when I hear, especially here in the Brookridge Clubhouse, people telling other people, please don't go for that sign. We don't want it, don't contribute to it. I don't see how anybody should say something like that. You can say very adamantly, I don't want to do the sign, I'm not going to put any money in. But that doesn't, you're not going to shame somebody into not giving a little bit to the sign or supporting it or even being on the fence. That's okay. But I really am getting very disturbed about, there are certain groups that are really nasty about the sign. And that's not what Brookridge is about. We can all agree to disagree. We are not using Brookridge money. We are using people's money that want to give to the sign. And yes, there are other things I hear that we would like to put in addition here. It's probably going to cost about $100 grand. Maybe that's a group of people will come forward next year and say, can we make money for that? I mean, it's all relevant. So all I ask is that if you don't like the sign, fine, say it. But please don't trash the sign, because that's just not neighborly. And that's all I have to say about that. Yes, we're going to have members' comments.
We're in the member comments, right?
Yes.
I'm a member.
Yes, you are.
Hey, there's a golf cart over there.
Yes.
If you want a ticket, see me. I got some here. I'll take care of that, okay?
We're doing very well with them, too, aren't we?
We're doing really good with those. 2 points. One, Saturday, Hampton will be closed. It'll close just this side of the exit from the west parking lot. That'll be turned into an in and out. They'll be parking there. Hampton will be closed on the other end down here, just after the entrance to the Golf Association's parking lot, which will be just for turning around, so you can drop people off. You'll be able to park in the grass out there, in the west parking lot, and on the street over here, okay? So just be aware, Hampton will be closed so that people can stroll across and not worry about traffic in there. It's going to be a carnival type atmosphere. Little Smoky's Barbecue is going to be here. We'll be selling tickets out there for a dinner. You're going to have a pulled pork barbecue sandwich, along with baked beans and coleslaw and a drink of your choice. So you want a meal, so come and have a good meal. It'll be fun. And the other thing is, I've heard an awful lot about the weather. Well, I called the weatherman. No. I just looked at the latest forecast, and the latest forecast says
40% chance of showers.
Cloudy skies, high 78, wind southwest at 10 to 15, with a 20% chance of rain. Okay, so it was up to 80 and 90% Saturday.
We have it up to 6 o'clock.
It's moving there, so Saturday's going to be a fun day. It was planned as a day to come out, and I've heard people say, well, I haven't gone anywhere, so I'm not getting welcome back, so it's not for me. We're welcoming people back. The people that live here full time are welcoming our seasonal people back. It's a day to come out, have fun, enjoy some games, meet some new people, mingle with your neighbors, have a good meal, and just have fun. How many days do we go out and just, the person that has, I want to see, if there's a hand out there, somebody that goes out and just has fun one day. I don't think any of us do. that's going to be the day, you know, Saturday's going to be a day to come out and just have fun from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. And if you can't tell I'm excited about this thing, I got to go home to bed.
Okay, member comments. Jackie, if you could come up. Your name and your unit number. Is it green? Push it up.
I just would like to thank, I'm Jackie McCabe, I think. I'm suffering from vertigo, so if I suddenly leave, you know what's happening. I'd like to thank the board for allowing Sue and myself to do the rummage sale, the garage sale, whatever you want to call it. We had a wonderful time. I was told last year we couldn't put a letter in the News and Views with everybody's name on it, so I wrote down as many names as I could think of, because believe me, it's like a village. You have to take, everybody has to help. Jim and Mike helped they did the kitchen with all kinds of things. Mr. and Mrs. Sajak and their neighbor that's brand new came out and worked all day to get the food out and get everybody served as best they could. Bev Epstein came up and sat with me from 6:30 in the morning to get 60 tables in at $10 a table. We made $600 right there. We also had Sherry and Lynn, who came Friday night to help us put things out and rearrange them and all that kind of thing. And Rosemary and Steve worked Friday night and Saturday all day. And Jim and Mike were in the kitchen. And Flo from Crafty Stitchers came over every day and helped us to put things out. And the monitors were incredible. And Gail, of course, was here to make sure we all behaved. And we did make almost, I'm still collecting money from people, but I've turned in almost $2,000. I would have liked to have made another $1,000.